We are not fooling around. It is another episode of Red Sox Now. We have a lot to talk about here today. I'm Mike Antonellis, one of the radio and TV broadcasters for the Worcester Red Sox, and make sure to follow me all over social media. The handle at Radio Mike. If you go on X, I've got a pretty cool link tree that gets to everything. April 1st, we're going to see a ton of bad April 1st jokes on social media. I've already seen some bad ones. You got to really step up your game. Tom Brady coming out of retirement, Aaron Rodgers signing back with Green Bay. There's some really bad ones. This is we're not fooling everybody here, anyone, when we talk about this thing that happened overnight and this nugget that dropped. Garrett Crochet. Now, ESPN's Jeff Passan was the first to report the deal. Before we get to it, I have told people this. What did Craig Breslow, what did Garrett Crochet tell everyone? We're not going to talk about it once the season started. I've told people, don't believe everything you hear and read. Sometimes when people put things out there, especially in the NFL, when a GM or an organization says, we're looking for this, they're lying. It's a game of poker. Of course, why would the Red Sox and why would Garrett Crochet not be talking about a potential extension? Here's a few reasons why. Guy made $800,000 last year. $800,000. The deal, by the way, 6 years, $170 million, covers 2026 through 2031 with an opt-out after 2030. This was confirmed to Mass Live on Monday night with Jeff Passan reporting it. Now, when I say a few of these things, it's going to make it sound like I am trying to convince Garrett Crochet or I'm against the deal. I'm looking for nuggets why the Red Sox maybe they got the better end of it. I'm just having perspective on this. Garrett Crochet has already had Tommy John, right? If you're looking at it from his point of view, he was a reliever right away. Now, the White Sox drafted him, immediately put him in the bullpen. I think maybe in the future they thought he was a starter. That's just to build up and replicate delivery and just work on a few things. But the guy still had Tommy John. Now, last year was his first full-time starting, albeit a very good year. Still, his first full year starting, 146 innings, over 200 strikeouts. What does this show you? That position. The value of starting pitching is astronomical, we know. But a number one starter, Crochet is more than that. There are teams that have number one starters, but they're not aces. This is maybe a top five, could be a top three pitcher in the game right now. So the value is ridiculous, despite making $800,000, despite getting the Red Sox bumped him up this year in arbitration. $170 million. Some are saying, well, he left some on the table. If you're him, listen, you had one full year. Now, this game can humble you quickly. That's a pretty good deal, I think, for both. It's going to obviously down the road give him a chance to go to free agency where if he has a banner 6 years, and he's pretty smart here, and his agent is as well. Think about this. You take that 170 right now. If you have 4 or 5 really good years, this guy could get 250, right? We saw what Max Fried got. Max Fried 6 years older. Down the road, what if this, the way starting pitching is, would it be nuts to say that this guy could get $250 or $300 million down the road? So maybe when you're looking at this as, geez, he only got 170 through 6. He's 29, 30 years old. He gets another $200, $300 million. It's close to a $500 million guy. That's what could happen. So that was good news to get that overnight. This was not good news. Another tough day for the Red Sox. They can't spoil the opening day in Baltimore. Now, I have talked about it being early in the year, but there is one thing going on right now that it doesn't matter if it's early or late in the middle. The strikeouts have got to stop. They are getting to a point of absurdity right now. 13 more yesterday, but more with runners at first and second, less than 2 outs. You won't win games. That is the reason the Red Sox are not winning games right now. And that is something that's got to stop. Things happen where guys don't hit, but this was a problem last year, and you can make outs. Batting average with runners in scoring position to me is super overrated because it does not tell you advancing a guy. You can hit a ground ball to the right side with 2 on, nobody out. You get an O for that at bat, but you could create 2 runs. The Red Sox have way too many strikeouts in key spots. Now, they gave up 4 runs in the first inning right away on the road to Baltimore. That doesn't help. 55 of 169 at-bats are strikeouts. It's over 10 a game, 23 of 55 with runners in scoring position. Now, there was some bright spots yesterday. Jarren Duran continues to hit. I know he was kind of struggling at the beginning, but you don't worry about Duran. The triple, his opposite field power. The last 2 years, you had these guys that you kind of picked up off the street, and Rev Snyder and Romy Gonzalez. I love those two. They had 2 hits apiece. Trevor Story did have a hit, struck out 3 times. Bullpen was okay. Slayton was kind of snake bitten a little bit, but the strikeouts have got to stop. I mean, that's something right now that is it's going to make people cuckoo. But it's really you got to be able to advance runners and hit situationally. You don't have to have hits all the time. But you look at some of the top teams that are striking out a lot in baseball, they're certainly not winning. All right. I told you, we're not fooling around today here on Red Sox Now. The Devers takes are getting more outrageous the more he struggles. They really are. I mean, I'm seeing the fire Pete Fatsi, the hitting coach, takes. Really? You're going to fire? So the hitting coach, are we serious here with this? Like, seriously, think about things you say before you put it out on social media. You're not firing your hitting coach. That is crazy. What do you want him to do? Okay? It's getting more ridiculous. Send him to AAA for confidence. What would that do for his confidence? Oh, I can hit AAA pitching? Really? You're going to send a guy down that signed an 8-year, whatever he signed? Come on. All right? But is there reason to be concerned? Absolutely. Devers, going back to last year's, 1 for his last 34 with 26 strikeouts. All right, now I saw some former big leaguers today tweeting out, well, it's the DH thing. Okay, well, let's go back to his last 25 games where he played third base in a lot of those. He's hitting 130 over his last 25 games back to last year. He's hitting under 200 since last August 2nd. He was playing third base in a lot of those. Stop with the DH takes. All right? Because if you're going to say that, then I'm going to counter it with evidence that shows you when he played third, he wasn't hitting for the last 2 months. This has been going on for a while, but no one seems to be talking about last year, focusing on the hot takes of, oh, he got moved to DH. A lot of that's nonsense. And listen, if he can't handle playing DH, then this is going to end badly, right? So, 1 for his last 34, 26 strikeouts, 92 at-bats in his last 25 games, 39 strikeouts. So is it he's injured? I don't know. The one thing, and I don't want to go too hot take-ish, if that's a word on this, but I said that spring training is not created equally for everyone. Well, your Abreu only had 20 at-bats. He was able to get away with it. Rafael Devers did not have a big spring training, and then you're putting him in pressure at-bats. Spring training pitching to big league pitching in the cold and all that's completely different. So he, at the end of the day, I know that this is not a hot take. He might not be ready yet. So we'll see. He had better at-bats yesterday, but this has been going on for a little bit, and this happens to guys in baseball. We've seen it over the years. So think about before those takes, but I know, it really helps with your social media likes and everything. That's not what we strive for here, but we do want you to comment, like, and subscribe to Red Sox Now. So I still believe, and it's not a reaction from Sean Newcomb yesterday, I still think Cooper Criswell should be your 5th starter. I thought he did enough last year to prove it. I understand Baltimore had, some left-handed hitters in the lineup, but Newcomb, cutters his pitch, they were sitting on it. I still think Cooper Criswell is that guy if they go again during the rotation. But I know you do want to see what you have from a left-hander, and there's some value there, but I do like Cooper Criswell. All right, Red Sox need this off day on Tuesday. They're back on it Wednesday in Baltimore. They open up Friday at home against the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, subscribe, like, comment to Red Sox Now. We thank Fan Arch for providing this platform as well. I'm Mike Antonellis. Enjoy your Red Sox off day, and thanks for watching.